So, you're a web programmer but don't know how to link CSS to HTML? How embarrassing! Watch this video and get smart. Before we dive in, I would like to give shout out to all our patrons. Thank you for supporting us. Your contributions mean the world to us and help keep this content coming. For just $3 a month, you'll get access to full source codes and programming quick guides. Subscribe our Patreon now. Honestly, it's crazy to think that only 1.9% of our viewers subscribe on YouTube. So if you're enjoying these tutorials and want to support us, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel too. Alright, let's jump straight into it. Today we're going to focus on how to add CSS it to your HTML file. We'll cover the three main methods. The first one inline CSS, the second is internal CSS, the last one external CSS. We're going to go through each one step by step, so stick around. Alright, let's jump into the first method using inline CSS. As you can see, I've already got some sample text here. Applying inline CSS is super easy. Just add the style attribute directly inside the p tag, and then plug in the CSS properties you want to use. For this example, I'm going to change the text color to blue and make the font size bigger, around 50 pixels. Now, if we look to the right, we can see that the text has changed color and the size is now bigger. 50 pixels to be exact. This means our inline CSS method worked like a charm. You should remember that inline CSS should really only be used in specific situations, like styling dynamically with JavaScript, small projects or single-page websites, HTML email development, quick testing and debugging. If you use inline CSS outside of previous scenarios, you're likely to run into some issues like duplicated code, difficulty making mass changes, bloated HTML size which can hurt your website's performance, and inefficiency for development teams, since it'll take way more time for your team to understand and maintain the code. Alright, now let's move on to internal CSS. Internal CSS is when you write your CSS code separately from the HTML elements, but it's still within the same HTML file. Super easy to do. Here's how. Just head over to the head section of your HTML file, add a style tag, write your p selector, and then plug in the CSS properties you want to use. In this tutorial, I'm changing the text color to blue and making the font size bigger, around 50 pixels. Let's see how it works. Now we can see that the text has grown to 50 pixels and the color has changed to blue. That means our internal CSS is working perfectly. Pretty easy, right? You should remember that internal CSS is a choice for these specific situations. You should use internal CSS when you're working on something small or simple, like a single page project, because it keeps everything in one place without the need for extra files. It's also great for quick prototyping or experimenting with designs, since you can write and test styles directly in the HTML file without jumping between documents. If you're creating a page that needs unique styling, like a special landing page or admin dashboard that won't be reused elsewhere, internal CSS is perfect because it only applies to that specific page. Plus, if reusability or modular design isn't a priority, internal CSS saves time and keeps things straightforward. Just remember, it's not ideal for bigger projects where scalability and organization matter more. Internal CSS might seem convenient at first, but it has its downsides, especially for larger projects. For starters, it's just not scalable. If you're working on a big website with multiple pages, internal CSS becomes a hassle because the styles can't be reused across different pages. You'd end up copying and pasting the same code over and over, which is inefficient and messy. Plus, adding all those styles directly into the style tag in the HTML can bloat the file size, making your page slower to load. And let's not forget how it affects SEO and maintenance. Search engines prefer clean, well-organized HTML, and cramming a bunch of CSS into the head section can make your code harder to read and manage in the long run. So, while it's fine for small or one-off pages, internal CSS isn't really a sustainable choice for bigger or more complex projects. Before we dive into explaining external CSS, make sure you've already set up your project files like this. As you can see, I've created one dedicated folder for this project, and inside it, there's one HTML file and one CSS file, which I've named style.css. Alright, now I'm going to explain the external CSS method. To apply this method, first we head over to the head section of our HTML file. Then we add a link tag, followed by rel equals style sheet and href equal your CSS file name. Easy enough, right? Just a quick explanation of this line HTML link. This line is basically tells the browser to grab the styles from this file called style.css and apply them to this web page. The rel style sheet part specifies that the file you're linking is a style sheet, and the href style.css points to the location of the CSS file, which in this case is in the same folder as the HTML file. It's a simple but super powerful way to keep your HTML clean and your styles organized in a separate file. Alright, now let's open the style.css file in our code editor. Then, just add some CSS code like usual. In this tutorial, I'm adding a P selector and setting the text color to blue with a font size of 50 pixels. Now, if we check the preview on the right side, we can see that the text has turned blue and the size is now bigger at 50 pixels. This means the CSS file and HTML file are perfectly connected. But if you don't see any changes, you'll need to double-check the link URL in the head section of your HTML file. Make sure the file name and location match exactly where the CSS file is inside your project folder. It's an easy fix once you spot the issue. When working on medium to large projects, especially websites with multiple pages, external CSS is the best choice. It ensures consistency across all pages, giving your site a cohesive and professional look. For instance, if you're building a blog or an e-commerce platform, external CSS allows you to define styles in one place and apply them globally. This not only saves time, but also makes future updates a breeze. Whether you're changing fonts, colors, or other design elements, you only need to edit the CSS file once for the changes to reflect everywhere. External CSS has a few drawbacks, such as requiring additional HTTP requests that can slow down loading times, especially with large or numerous files. Users may also experience a slight delay on the first visit as the browser downloads the CSS file. Linking errors due to incorrect file paths or names can prevent styles from loading, and caching issues might cause outdated styles to appear. Additionally, for small projects, external CSS can feel unnecessary, and debugging multiple files can become time-consuming when resolving conflicts or specific rules. That's all for today's explanation on how to link CSS to your HTML file. You can choose the method that best suits the type of project you're working on. Be wise in choosing, as the wrong approach can impact the development of your website project. If you have alternative methods or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Code Instinct for more insightful content on web development and coding. Also, share this video with others so it can benefit more people who are learning. Let's grow our knowledge together. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.